Hello.
Monday, 107 of lockdown.
Who knows? It feels like it's coming to the end though.
I think we've got another 1 or 2 weeks of Welsh of that 3-week extension
Yeah.
for lockdown.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Not sure.
Not sure. Nobody knows. But we're still
Actually,
here.
nobody in charge knows either.
No.
They're just literally making it up. Anyway, I don't want to
Monday
get on that.
morning chats.
Monday-
And we're up to Dave's new origin story.
Yes.
Part deux.
That's right. We've done exhaustive show notes on this, lots of research.
Yes.
We literally just switched this on, and we're going to try to remember what we talked about last time, which was, I think, getting us to the point where Zoe and I had met, and that was it. We
Yeah.
can discuss then how we then got to Cardiff.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of more your story.
Oh, okay.
So bore the people with that.
Bore the people with that.
Although ultimately this is about me.
It's all about you, darling. It's all about you. I came to Cardiff University to study. That's why I ended up in Cardiff. I met Dave at the local leisure centre gym.
What did you study?
Oh, I'll get there.
Okay.
Don't question me. Towards the end of June, and I was leaving to go to university in the September. And I'd applied to study medieval history and archaeology at Cardiff University. And by the time it got round to me moving down to halls of residence for my first year, Dave and I were together and...
Well, I've just remembered, we finished last time on a cliffhanger, which was how I said no when you asked me out.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Always a sod. I should have known. I asked him out and he said no. It turns out because he was working late that night that I asked him. And he then panicked and went, I didn't mean like no, never, just no, I can't do that night. And I was like, that's okay, we can choose a different night. Yeah, so we got together and have been together ever since.
Pretty much. Which is now, at the time of making this...
Been married 20 years this summer.
No, 19 years I think. We got
19
married in
years.
2001.
Yeah.
This is 2020, so 19 years married, together for 3 more years than that.
Yeah.
Which is...
24.
Oh my god.
That's maths.
No. So 3 more years than 19.
Oh, 23.
Yes. No.
What? Ages. Bloody
3
ages.
more years than 19. 19 plus
20,
3.
21, 22.
Yes.
Which is like 23 and 24. So long, I can't actually even work it out anymore.
Oh my god. My daughter's doomed.
Yes, she is. Anyway, the point is, we'd been together for 3 months when I was moving down to Cardiff.
Yes.
And the idea was that we'd stay together, but I would go to Cardiff by myself.
Summer fling, bit of fun.
For the whole year. We decided I needed a year to do the university thing. And by Christmas of that year, so within June, July, August, September, October, November, 6 months, we were engaged to be married, and David moved down to Cardiff.
Yeah. Yeah, we got engaged really quickly, like after 3-4 months.
Yeah, 3 or 4 months. And then you came down at Christmas time. And I was still in halls of residence, so you kind of slept on my floor for 6 months.
Yeah, which wasn't the plan.
Which wasn't the plan.
It just ended up
That's
being
how
that.
it happened.
Yeah, because I even looked at places to live,
Yeah.
but for one thing or another.
Just
Yeah.
didn't bother. And you came down and the first work you got was cooking in the slug and lettuce, wasn't it?
Bar work, slug and lettuce first.
Yeah.
So I was working around the bar.
If you know Cardiff, the slug and lettuce, it's not there anymore. I think it's a recruitment agency. But it used to be opposite St John's Church, right at the bottom of the Hayes, top of Queen Street, that sort of area.
No, near the Owen Glendower pub.
Yeah.
So city centre pub, only small,
Yeah.
but we're always really, really busy. And the reason we popped in there at all was the original slug and lettuce is in Stratford and Avon, and I used to work there. I used to work there. So I just saw slug and lettuce where I was in town. I was like, oh, we'll go in. And I got chatting to the manager, and he offered me a job when I came down. He said,
Wasn't it Elaine at that point?
no, it was a guy before Elaine. Cheryl remembers his name.
And the weird thing is, we both ended up working there, and the assistant manager is now our next door neighbour.
Yeah.
And he's a builder now, and he did all the building work on the gym.
Everything.
It's like...
So incestuous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we came down to Cardiff, and Dave just got a job. First in the pub, on the bar, then you ended up in the kitchens, then I ended up working there because they were short-staffed and Dave just volunteered me.
I was doing some door work as well.
Yes, you were doing door work. I remembered the other night, I've never been a massive party goer, late night person. So when he was on really late doing door work, I'd go to bed, and then you didn't have your driving licence at the time, so I was like, oh, I'll come pick you up. So I'd go to bed, and then I'd set my alarm, and I'd get out of bed at like 2:30 in the morning, just put my coat on over my pyjamas, drive to the middle of Cardiff city centre.
I was working in Berlin's.
Oh God, it's hideous. And all the guys on the door knew me, so they'd let me in, and I'd just sit on the end of one of the banquettes, just like that, you know, shattered and in my plaid pyjamas, waiting for Dave to finish, and he'd be trying to shuffle very drunk, amorous ladies out of the club, and they often got a bit handsy, because as you can see, Dave is devilishly handsome.
Devilish.
What woman could resist?
Who could?
And he'd be like, love, no, that's my girlfriend over there, and I'd be like, all right. So you had your opportunity.
I did.
But you got stuck with me.
I did.
And then eventually you got on to teaching classes, didn't you?
Well, again, fairly quickly from moving to Cardiff, I popped into... I phoned every gym in Cardiff.
Oh God.
Yeah, except...
One of them wasn't a gym.
Well, yeah, it was a brothel.
I remember listening to the phone conversation, because you sat down with the Yellow Pages, because it was the Yellow Pages back in 1846.
Yeah, and I just went through health clubs, because there wasn't a thing for gymnasium, it was just health clubs. And also listed under health clubs at the time were massage parlours.
To be fair to you, it was called the Ambassador Health Club.
It was called, it's still there,
Yeah.
apparently. I'm not sure, I wouldn't know. But the Ambassador Health Club. In the UK, there's this, like, technically prostitution's illegal, and massage clubs...
Soliciting and running a brothel is illegal.
Massage parlours are definitely not brothels, but of course that's what actually goes on there. And it's one of those, they turn a blind eye to it, because at least legally they know where it's all happening. So anyway, it's all very seedy and incestuous and nasty, but I was phoning places up, like David Lloyd and
local leisure centres,
and just looking for work in gyms. And I phoned up Ambassador. I was like, you got any work going? And she was like, you don't sound like our normal person who works here. This is a brothel, pet. We can work you up a sweat though. Ew.
And I just remember him going very still and going, no,
okay.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
So funny.
Yeah. And so I got some work at, was it Metropolitan Club at the time, or Cannons? It was Cannons. I got some work at Cannons, just in the gym. And then I started very early on teaching classes at Cardiff University's Park Place gym. And that's kind of the start of the story, really. So we'll circle back to that. So I was working in pubs and doing bouncer work and teaching classes and doing gym stuff, and you were working in the pub and
studying and driving you to Bridgend and back for Tybo classes. That was a bit later.
That came later as well. But it, like, for me in Cardiff, it all started at the Cardiff University had a gym, and the gym was rubbish.
It was.
But they had a large sports hall, and they used to run exercise classes from there. And I think Nikki.
Yeah, I remember Nikki.
Nikki. We actually went to her wedding.
She's tons of fun.
Yeah.
An aerobics demon.
Yeah, absolute savage. And so she was the
class coordinator
sort of person there. I think I just covered somebody's class and did a good job, and so they offered me sort of work there, and I was allowed to pretty much do what I wanted, but what I took over was a boxercise class. And if you've ever done a boxercise class, it's basically just circuit training with every now and again there's a bit of pad work. So it's press-ups and squat thrusts and running up on the spot and jumping jacks, and then you put the pads on and you just punch stuff and then you move around. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to teach. So the boxing class I took over became basically a boxing / kickboxing class, and I bought out of my own pocket.
Yeah, so much equipment.
Thousands of pounds worth of equipment, just so we had all the tie pads and the kick shields and the hook and jab pads and the boxing gloves.
I had a VW Polo at the time, and you bought so much kit that actually it filled.
Filled it.
There's us in the front, and then the rest is like a wall of pads.
And those classes were incredibly busy.
Yeah.
Like sort of waiting list and 50 people in the class, and it's where we met our sort of first lot of friends. Our teaching classes at Cannons.
Yeah,
we
that
met
was Mark and Mel, Andy and Linda. That was the whole camping, hiking, mountain biking side of things.
Yeah, and then from Park Place, it was Zoe Moss, it was Louise, and other people who I sort of forget off the top of my head right now. And all of those people we're still in contact with, and people like Louise and Zoe still come to my classes 20 plus years later, and I've never got any better.
Neither have they.
No, that's what I meant. Like, Louise is still rubbish.
No, she's fabulous.
She's really good. And that was kind of the start of it. I taught one class in Cardiff, and I got a good reputation from that. I was offering more classes, different gyms got in contact with me.
Fitness First you ended up at, Guy Lloyd.
Yeah, David Lloyd.
University.
There was a leisure centre in Bridgend that once a week I used to go across and do a double Tybo class.
I'd do the first class, and then I'd sit in the lobby and do my university work for another hour, and then we'd come home again.
I mean, financially it almost wasn't worth it, but it was...
Got you in.
It got me in, and it sharpened the blade. Yeah. Like, it got me my 10,000 reps, which is how you get good at anything, is repetition, repetition, repetition. And I think at my busiest, I was doing between 20, 25 classes a week.
He was about half the size he is now.
Yeah, literally
no
half
time
the
for weight training. It was all cardio.
And they're all classes with boxercise, but being the exception, sort of. They're all classes that I had to physically do.
You started doing the Les Mills International stuff at Fitness First.
Yeah, so it was body pump.
What was the thing with the weights?
That's body pump.
That was body
pump. Body pumps with the weights. That was the main one I taught. Spin, I taught.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot
unbelievable amounts of spin classes.
Step aerobics, which was hilarious because you were terrible.
Yeah, step and regular aerobics, which I was terrible at. My Tybo, under a different name for legal reasons, they were super popular.
They were.
I taught those for years because I've got a martial art background. It wasn't a dance instructor teaching you
kicking and punching
to music. It was I tried to make it as proper martial art as possible. They were savage.
They were unbelievably hard.
I couldn't do one of those now. I'd have a heart attack and die.
Yeah.
But because they were such hard workouts, people loved them. And so that's where Claire Roberson, Jill, all the Fitness First lot, and those classes were so busy. Yeah. I remember it was a Friday morning, 10 o'clock class. In the morning.
Normally dead.
10 o'clock in the morning on a Friday.
Notoriously hard to fill.
And it was standing room only, like there were just people jammed in. So I got really good at what I did. And then personal training. I did bits on the side all throughout this, and this is years.
Personal training, that is.
Personal training, yeah. And this is, of course, years. So we came to Cardiff in 98, 99,
end of 98.
And we opened the Dave's Gym in 2006. So it was 7 years of grind. I worked like a dog.
We have, yeah, both of us.
And worked all the hours I could, taught all the classes I could, and then in Fitness First, I'm not quite sure exactly when I started there. It was probably 3 years of PT that I did at Fitness First. So I'll call that 2003. Then I started doing a lot more personal training. When was Conrad born? 2004.
Well, I was pregnant with Conrad while you were still at Fitness First, because I remember trying to slip between the banks of cross trainers and just getting stuck.
So maybe 2002, 2003, I started doing a lot more personal training. And this is back in the day, of course, in the UK, where there wasn't phalanxes of personal trainers every gym.
No.
I was it. In Fitness First,
yeah.
I was the only one. So I paid my monthly rent, and I mean, knowing what I know now, good God, I could have capitalised on that better. But I was still so busy. I used to come back with just pockets full of cash.
Yeah.
And so that, working there, and then them bringing in more and more personal trainers.
And they changed the system. It was really unfair, but by the end.
It was really
But
unfair.
I remember you'd go and do your early classes and your early clients, and then you'd come home, which would coincide with Conrad's first nap of the day.
Yeah.
And to make sure that you got to spend some time with him, you'd have a quick play, and then the pair of you would go up to bed, and you'd lay him on your chest like that, and both of you would just conk out.
Yeah, I've got pictures of Conrad just asleep in my chest when I'm having my nap as well.
Snooze.
Yeah, because I was up at 5:36 and then teaching class until 10.
So you had sort of a chunk of time in the middle of the day that you had to sleep and eat 25,000 calories. And,
but like the friends from that period in Cardiff is what really made us decide to live here. I mean, it was repetition of just being here as well, but like we've met so many amazing people over the years.
Yeah. I mean, I finished my degree, had a year out and worked, and then went back 2 years part-time to do a master's. And at the end of that 2 years is when we started our family.
Yeah.
And when we were looking at, could we afford a house? Was there space for Dave to run his own business and be self-employed? Cardiff made a lot more sense.
It did.
Plus the big social scene through all the gyms. Because although I wasn't teaching anything fitness related then, I was a member of all the gyms, I did the classes, we all went on these weekends away together.
Yeah.
And Stratford's a really expensive place to buy a house.
Certainly is. And again, I couldn't have had that busyness. Like there's the leisure centre and a few little tiny health clubs in Stratford, and that's about it.
Yeah.
All through that, I was also teaching real martial arts, my Muay Thai. So I used to do the box size class and the kickboxing class and the Thai bow and all of that. And then a couple of times a week, I used to teach kickboxing or Muay Thai.
On City Road.
Well, first it wasn't, was it? It was at the Students' Union.
Yeah, that's true. It sort of merged into it. You taught in the nightclub.
Yeah, so again, friends we made through Park Place was...
Little Chrissy.
Little Chrissy, 5 foot and maybe 6 stone.
Yeah.
Like no weight to her at all, tiny little thing. She used to come to my classes in Park Place, but she was the events manager for the Students' Union. Enormous building that has various nightclubs in it for the students and pubs, and then a large venue for live gigs and bands. And I mean, I've seen like this t-shirt here, Orange Goblin. I think I picked that up from the Students' Union, Great Hall. And so big venue. And I wanted to, the classes I taught for the gyms and for the Students' Union, I got paid a flat rate.
Yeah, but you were packing 50 people in.
But I was packing 50 people in. So I wanted to be able to have my own venue and be able to charge each person individually and have that money for myself. I had earned it. And I'd also invested in it.
With all the kit.
With all the kit that they didn't buy, I bought. And so the first time I did that was through Chrissy, and she said, yeah, absolutely, you can use either the Great Hall if it's free and there's not a gig on, or you can use the nightclub, which at the time was called Soulless, which is probably a Welsh word meaning something, but also sounds like soulless.
It does. It was disgusting.
Yeah, and so we used to teach classes there, and the floor was sticky.
And you're doing press-ups, and you'd come back up, and there'd be bits of glass in the palms of your hands.
Broken glass. This is before plastic pint pots were handed out as usual. So it was broken glass and sticky,
and
stale beer.
And we still packed them out.
And fag smoke back then as well, of course, because smoking was allowed in pubs and nightclubs back then. And those classes were rammed. We used to fill the Great Hall with people. And even Soulless. And that was like where Zoe Moss was really training properly with us from there. And obviously Louise, loads as well. And then when that was starting to wind down, friends of mine who are also martial artists, Spiro and Denzel, they opened up a little dojo on City Road, which is one of the main roads in Cardiff.
It's only about 2 streets from where we were living at the time, so it's really handy.
Yeah, I mean, real
all of
close.
those classes at Solus, if you remember, we had to park out the front of the Students' Union, and the Students' Union building is built over a railway. So to get in, you have to climb about 40 feet direct height with the stairs.
Yeah, 3 flights of stairs.
Carrying cricket bags full of gloves, Tide pads. We had those big fabric ones, and they weighed a ton. So I remember 2 in each hand, and we were shattered just getting the kit in there.
Yeah, it was like 20 minutes loading
up and downstairs.
But 100% worth it.
But yeah, Spiro and Denzel's place.
So Spiro and Denzel place, and they were teaching kickboxing. Both of them world champions, fantastic martial artists. And they wanted to rent that space out to other instructors. So
and yours complemented it because Thai boxing is different to kickboxing.
It's different to kickboxing. And I was always very fitness orientated. So there were super hard, pure pad work classes with sparring. So there was no kicking or punching air. And I didn't do gradings.
No.
It was sport.
It's just skill.
Yeah, it was sport and fitness. And so we do the hard sessions. And that class was the 100% my personal training at Fitness First, and those classes in City Road were the foundation that Dave's Gym is built on. Because as we were working for Fitness First, which I had enough of, because they were just bringing more and more personal trainers and weren't doing anything to sort of try and help me get clients at all.
They were forcing deals that were brilliant for clients but terrible for personal trainers, and trying to oblige them to do these services.
The triple pack.
And that's what you finally snapped.
Yeah. And
at that point I'd had Jocelyn.
Yeah, you'd had Jocelyn or thereabouts.
We were still living in Cardiff at the time, and we were just about to have had enough.
Yeah.
And to try and move out of Cardiff.
We were considering just to get gone, and this opportunity just came up. And you know what? I can't even remember how or why I found where Dave's Gym currently is now.
I think you just used to generally keep an eye on the commercial properties. Maybe. And it came up one time, although it had been empty for a while when we took it over.
Yeah, and so I'd heard about this property, and I contacted the estate agent, and it's big. It's 6,000 square feet. Which is tiny if you're a big commercial gym, but is enormous if you're a personal training studio. And you got to remember, in 2006 in Cardiff, there was leisure centres, there was the big health clubs, but they were more high end. So it was David Lloyd, tennis courts, swimming pools,
and cafes,
and there was one bodybuilding gym, Peak Physique, on Newport Road.
Very bodybuilder, so
very
not
bodybuilder.
Terribly friendly.
No, and it was a bodybuilding gym, and that was it. There wasn't anything else really. This is before CrossFit. I think it might have existed in America then, but there's no CrossFit gyms in the UK that I was aware of, and there was nobody doing free weights, strength and conditioning, powerlifting, Olympic lifting, and like proper athletic S&C training.
Well,
it didn't exist.
Initially, that's not what we set out to be. We set out to be an independent version of something like Fitness First. So we had free weights, we had machine weights, we had plenty of cardio.
That's true. That's very true.
And our gym location is right in the heart of the residential part of Cardiff that's dominated by the students.
We are surrounded by terraced houses.
Yeah, and our gym itself is 2 Victorian terraces, mostly knocked together with a bit of a dog leg at the back. So it's a nice friendly building. And at the time, I'd had Jocelyn, and I hadn't decided quite yet what I was doing in terms of work. I'd finished my masters. I hadn't got an official job yet because I was pumping out children. And as long as Dave had been self-employed in Cardiff, I'd just been doing his books for him, like his tax returns. And you decided to try and have a go of running your own gym. And he asked me, he said, would you mind helping me out with the books? Because I was doing that anyway. He's like, would you mind helping with the paperwork? So I was like, yeah, of course, no problem.
Yeah, well...
Now it's my full-time work too.
It really is.
Yeah.
The gym opened in 2006.
Yeah.
We took over the building and 6 weeks later we opened for business.
It used to be, the previous incarnation, it was like a cane furniture warehouse, but it had been derelict for years, and it was stuffed with dead pigeons, and the stairs had been ripped out.
Oh, it was ruined. The whole building
was
was
been empty for a long time.
derelict.
And we had to do a huge amount of work. It wasn't just cosmetic. We were kangaroing concrete floors. What is currently now the martial arts dojo upstairs used to be an industrial laundry. So it had an angled, poured concrete floor with channels in it. Do you remember, for all the water runoff? And we were hand mixing aggregate and just... But the weird thing is that our old manager from the Slug and Lettuce, by that point, was a builder and living next door to us on Barry Island, because we'd moved to Barry Island. And so he did all the building work for us, which was very stressful.
Yes, it was. It was a really hard time. Just because the amount of money that we threw at it.
Yeah.
We remortgaged the house to the hilt to pay for it, and borrowed money from your parents, and spent every penny of it and then some more.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was...
And we found out I was pregnant with Max the day we opened.
So we had 3 children under 3 years old.
Yeah.
Conrad just turned 3.
Yeah.
And we'd had Joss, who was a year and a half, and sprinting around a building site.
She was terrifying as a small child.
Horrible child. And then pregnant with Max.
So I remember signing our first members up, stood behind the desk. Dave was on the gym floor doing gym floor stuff. And I had Conrad lying on his back on the floor halfway through a nappy chain, Jocelyn in a baby rucksack. And I was so nauseous with Max, I actually couldn't physically stand up straight before 11 a.m.
Yeah.
So
and
I
we'd
join my gym,
we'd
don't mind the baby.
recently moved house to Barry Island as well.
Yeah, so there was the commute.
So all within a year we'd opened a business,
had a third child,
and
moved
to a derelict Victorian pile.
But we did it. You needed the freedom to make your own choices. The way personal training was going, it was increasingly freshly qualified with 0 experience 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that they can't be good, they can, but
Eventually.
most of the time they're not. Yeah. And the only reason they could make money out of PT at the time is because they were still living either in like student type housing or at home with mum and dad. And the increasing restrictions that they put on your earning potential meant you had to shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
So that's what we went with.
But fortunately, because of the reputation that I'd built up with the classes and my personal training, when I left Spear and Denzel's place and left Fitness First, we had an immediate family at Dave's gym.
A lot of people came with
A lot of people came with us straight away, and some of those people are still with us.
Our location, I mean, we are a brilliant gym, but that's not why a lot of people join us. They join us because of where we are, and we're physically right in the heart of where all the graduates and young professionals are, and a lot of hardcore locals.
We haven't got a car park because
it's all on street parking, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah, but people walk to us because we're just around the corner from them. We're their friendly local neighbourhood gym. So when we first opened up, we had some fantastic staff. The thing that's made the gym is the people that we've had there.
Yeah.
As members, but also as members of staff. So we started with Sue.
Yeah, I remember Sue. Then there was Hayley.
Yeah, Sue and Hayley, who are kind of our gym managers at the time. But then Sue brought with her
Daniel Zareba.
Daniel and Jess.
Yeah,
and Jess's Ben, boyfriend at the time, whose Ben is Sue's son.
Yeah.
And Hayley was Sue's mate because they were next door neighbours almost, and so and Daniel was living with them after coming back from Poland or something mad. And so we ended up with this kind of family that sort of became our family at the gym.
Yeah.
And we couldn't afford much in the way of staff. It was a brand new gym. So one of us, or both of us, came up with the idea of having gym motivators. And the motivator position was you gave us 4 hours a week of working in the gym and you got your free gym membership.
So some people worked on reception for us, other people were out on the gym floor. and it worked really well. And again, that's how we built the Daystrom community.
Yeah.
And you think about Pete, Matt Strong, the number of people that joined us as motivators whilst they were at university studying for some sort of professional career, that we have mutated into the fitness industry is astonishing.
I'd say corrupted.
I'd take that.
So, I mean, from that first wave of people, you had Emil.
Yeah.
Matt Strong.
Matt Strong's a PT in London.
Yeah.
Emil is an international online personal trainer of huge amounts of money.
Yeah. You had Danny Zuko, who's
now
still
in Canada doing PT.
out in Canada. You've got Dan Bish.
Doing PT.
Still PTing, still in the fitness industry. Pete Rankin owns his own CrossFit gym.
Yeah.
He worked for us for a bit. Rodders.
Oh, lovely Rod.
Okay, lovely Rod, who's still with us as a personal trainer, really successful.
Callum joined as a member at 13.
13.
Now works for us. Part-time receptionist, personal trainer.
His girlfriend, Charlotte.
Who's one of our pole instructors as well as a PT.
Yeah, you've got...
we've got Dean.
Dean, Sarah.
Yeah. Ryan.
Ryan.
Oh, all these names that probably won't mean anything to a lot of you, but they mean a huge amount to us.
A huge amount of us. Matt Richardson and Verity, of course. Matt Richardson's got his own gym now. So many people work for us as something to do part-time as a student or as a hobby, and then ended up loving it and being in the industry and still in the industry. And it's been 14 years that we've had the gym.
And what's interesting is when we opened, we were sort of a general gym. We certainly had a lot more strength equipment than most independent gyms. It was 50-50, but that's the sort of gym we wanted to be. And over the years...
Well, it's the only gym that we knew, really. That's what gyms were. You had cardio, you had machines, and you had free weights.
Or you were a spit and sawdust bodybuilders gym where a lot of people were not welcome.
Yeah.
And, you know, we opened at the start of just before the start of the boom of the independent gym industry, before CrossFit, before all of this sort of thing, before weight training really became accessible to most people. And if you look at how we've changed over those years, apart from surviving a double dip recession and all of these other things, when we started, we were 50-50 weights and cardio. You were teaching classes upstairs still. And over the years, we've migrated partly towards your preference and your skill base, but also the way the industry has changed. And we're now a strength and conditioning gym, and we've got a handful of bits of cardio equipment that you can warm up on if you like. If you must, off you pop, 5 minutes and you're done. And I think one of the benefits of that is if you're going to be an S&C gym, you have to teach. And we've always had teaching at the heart of what we do, and that's why the change has occurred. Because you go to any gym and they're all going to say, we're a great gym, join us, you know, brilliant customer service, loads of equipment. And we've never said that. We've always said, if you want to learn how to lift, come here. And obviously we do PT. I've only been involved in that in the last year, 18 months-ish. But the people that have worked for us, either on the desk or as motivators or Dave, have always taught. And it's not just, can you show me how to use this machine? If you want to learn to lift, we'll teach you. Properly.
Safely and effectively. And not just to a very high standard. And it's time on the platform. I've been lifting weights and exercising with resistance since I was 14, and I'm 50 this year. So that's 36 years of having a barbell in my hands. And I did it all wrong.
That's how you learn.
Like every single thing you could do wrong, I have done. Every single supplement that you can buy that promises you the world, I have taken. Every diet that has ever come out, I have followed. And every routine that has ever been published in any magazine, I have done.
You've had a go.
I've had a go. So like when I tell people this is the best way, it is. Because I've done it so many times. And I don't own a gym and sit at the back and delegate to people. I'm on the platform full time. Before this COVID lockdown, I was at the gym 60 hours a week, and out of those, minimum 40 hours on a platform. Coaching every week. And
what we found was because that's how you were and that's how our staff were, we attracted really lovely people. So as a gym, we're quite unusual in that we have a massive age range. We obviously have quite a lot of students, and we've got people training hard and properly into their 70s. And what's lovely is everyone learns from everyone else. So regulars that come at the same time become friends and learn from each other. They find people have met at our gym and got married and have had kids. And we've rented out other parts of the gym. So we started off with our own aerobics studio, and over the years, as we merged towards S&C, we changed. We've got rid of loads of the cardio. We've made more space for weights, and we've now had for years a fantastic set of yoga instructors in there. We've got Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in there. We've got sports massage in there. So although we've got other businesses working out of us and other PTs, everyone, there's no front. There's no it's my way or the highway. Everyone teaches and learns from everybody else, and there's no ego involved. And we get, I get hairy ass powerlifters coming and asking me to check their technique. And I'm like, yeah. And they listen. And then you get members talking to each other, saying, oh, I see you struggling with that. Do you want a spot? And it's a really nice community.
Genuinely, a genuine community. So on any given night, you'll have the oddest bunch of people.
We get some really odd people.
Oh, I love them all. I
totally
love them all.
Mad,
love them
they're
all.
Lovely.
Shout out to Arms and Tom and Ryan.
Oh yeah.
And John Beckerton, who's been a stalwart at the gym forever, the most shredded, ripped man on earth.
Gordon and Kath. Max the plumber. I know you're listening. Oh, does he watch them?
Yeah. And just some great people that, if they bumped into each other randomly in the street, would have nothing to do with each other. But they've got this little shared thing at the gym.
Do you remember we went on holiday to Tenby in West Wales a couple of years ago, and we bumped into about 6 members of the gym and their families?
Max was one of them, actually.
Max was one of them. We bumped into him in his van outside the supermarket. And I was like, seriously, we're trying to get away.
And so, over the year, there's been 10,000 people that have gotten in and out of the gym.
Yeah.
But there's hundreds of those where I think the gym's important to them.
We are like a drop-in centre for the feckless and underemployed.
Yeah.
People just come in and eat their sandwiches and have a chat and then push off again.
Yeah, push off. Dave Rich.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so many fantastic people.
And people that have moved away.
Yeah.
But the minute they come back to Cardiff, they come and have a session. Or they have to cancel their membership because they're leaving. And we get the most lovely emails like, I'm so sad to be leaving Dave's gym, and you've taught me this, that and the other. And
So it means a lot to me, and it means a lot to people, and it means a lot to me that it means a lot to other people.
Yeah.
And we are determined to keep this going. Over the years, when you're running a business, it is very isolated. You feel like you're by yourself.
Yeah.
You get no help at all from anybody. It's on you. And I wouldn't have any other way. But you do feel isolated, and it is quite lonely at times. And we've both considered doing something else at some point. Maybe taking a step back from the business, having a manager in, maybe fixing bicycles in Ibiza, whatever. But no, all I want is to run my little gym in Roath, in Cardiff, until I'm too old to be able to do it properly, really. Because we love you guys very much.
We do. And it's, it was... Obviously, as an independent business owner, the whole coronavirus lockdown thing is concerning. Where's your money coming from? How long is it going to last? And I don't want to take anything away from anyone else's business at all, but we have so many feels connected to our business. We have had lifelong friends. We are a safe place for so many people. And I don't mean necessarily we as in you and I as individuals, although to some extent that's true. We have made a massive contribution and a massive change in people's lives. So the thought of that being uncertain is heartbreaking. And not just to how do we pay the mortgage, but, where does the next set of years of Dave's gym go? We've come on such a long way from being a mini fitness first to being a strength and conditioning, to more emphasis on the teaching and the PT. And we want to keep it going, and we need to wait and see what the government says.
Yeah, but we'll be there until the end of time.
Probably the end of time.
Probably the end of time.
I think Dave might die in a squat rack.
Which is fine, if you're going to go. Yeah, I think that brings us to the end of this one. We'll have to think about something else to chat about next time. The plan was maybe to do 3 of these and talk about the future of Dave's gym in the next one, but there's almost no point,
We can't plan for the future at the moment.
But the future will be, I'll see you on the platform. I'll see you there with the bar in your hands.
See you at the bar.
Chalk smirches on your cheeks.
Yeah.
Okay?
Have a good week, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Love you all.